Reid Hoffman once said that starting a company is like jumping off a cliff and assembling an airplane on the way down. But here's the shocking truth no one talks about. 80% of entrepreneurs are trying to build that airplane completely alone. And that's exactly why 90% of startups fail. What if I told you there's a way to not just survive that fall, but to soar? What if the secret isn't building a better airplane, but building it with others who are falling alongside with you? I'm David White, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why collaborative competition, not cutthroat competition, is the hidden strategy that's cutting business costs by 50% and increasing success rates to 80%. You'll discover exactly how to share your plane parts with others, why your biggest competitors should become your closest allies, and the three-step framework that transforms solo entrepreneurs into industry authorities. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll never look at business competition the same way again. Let's start with that cliff metaphor because it's more accurate than most entrepreneurs want to admit. When you launch a business, you're literally jumping into the unknown. You have an idea, maybe it's brilliant, maybe it's terrible, but you won't know until you're already in free fall. Now, traditional business wisdom tells us this is where the magic happens. You scramble, you innovate, you pivot, you hustle. You build your airplane piece by piece while gravity is working against you. And sure, some people make it. The Richard Bransons, the Elon Musks, the Sarah Blakeleys of this world. But here's what they don't tell you in those inspirational LinkedIn posts. For every success story, there are hundreds of entrepreneurs who hit the ground hard, not because they weren't smart enough, not because they didn't work hard enough, because they were trying to invent every single airplane from scratch. Think about it. You're falling through the air, and instead of focusing on aerodynamics and flight patterns, you're wasting precious time trying to figure out how to make screws. You're researching wing materials when you should be testing flight plans. You're reinventing the wheel, literally, when there are perfectly good wheels already available. This is where most entrepreneurs get it wrong. They think business is about being the lone wolf, the solitary genius, the person who figures it all out independently. But that's not how real authority is built. That's not how sustainable success happens. Here's where everything changes. What if, instead of building your airplane alone, you could tap into a network of other people who are also falling? What if they had spare wings and you had extra engines? What if you could share resources, knowledge, and even compete collaboratively? This isn't some feel-good kumbaya philosophy. This is hard data. Companies that engage in structured partnerships and collaborative competition reduce their operational costs by an average of 50%. 50%. That's not margin improvement. That is transformation. But it gets better. These same companies see success rates jump to 80%. Compare that to the 10% success rate of solo entrepreneurs, and you start to see why these authority figures in every industry understand this principle. Now, I know what you're thinking. David, if I share my secrets, won't my competitors just steal my ideas and put me out of business? Well, this is the scarcity mindset that keeps entrepreneurs trapped on that cliff. The truth is, in today's economy, there's room for multiple players in almost every niche. Your biggest threat isn't competition, it's irrelevance. And the fastest way to become irrelevant is to isolate yourself from the very people who could help you soar. Real authority figures understand that collaboration doesn't weaken your position. It strengthens the entire ecosystem. When you help others succeed, you create a network of allies who will help you succeed. When you share resources, you gain access to resources you never could have developed in-house alone. Let me give you a concrete example. In the tech industry, companies like Apple and Google compete fiercely in some areas while collaborating deeply in others. Google pays Apple billions to be the default search engine on iPhones. They're competitors and partners. This isn't contradiction. It's strategic brilliance. The same principle applies to your business, regardless of your industry. The question isn't whether you should collaborate with competitors, it's how to do it strategically. So how do you actually implement this? How do you go from solo cliff diver to collaborative authority? I developed a 3-step framework that works across industries and business sizes. Step 1, identify your plane parts. Before you can share resources, you need to know what resources you have. Make a list of your unique strengths, your extra capacity, your specialized knowledge. Maybe you're brilliant at social media, but terrible at financial planning. Maybe you have amazing design skills, but struggle with sales. These aren't weaknesses, they're potential collaboration opportunities. Step 2, map your ecosystem. Who else is falling through the air in your industry? Who has the plane parts you need? More importantly, who needs the plane parts you have? This isn't just about direct competitors. It's about adjacent businesses, complementary services, even companies in completely different industries who serve similar customers. Step 3, structure strategic partnerships. This is where most people get it wrong. They think collaboration means informal relationships and handshake deals. Real authority figures create structured partnerships with clear boundaries, defined benefits, and measurable outcomes. You're not just sharing resources, you're creating mutual value. Let me be clear. This isn't about giving away your competitive advantage. It's about recognizing that in today's interconnected economy, your competitive advantage comes from your ability to create value through relationships, not just through isolation. When you master this framework, something magical happens. You stop being just another entrepreneur trying to build an airplane alone. You become a connector, a collaborator, a person who creates value for others while building sustainable success for yourself. You become an authority figure. Authority isn't built in isolation. It's built through relationships, through collaboration, through the recognition that you can achieve more together than you ever could alone. When you help others succeed, when you share resources strategically, when you choose collaboration over competition, you don't just build a business, you build a reputation. And reputation in today's economy is everything. It's the difference between struggling to find customers and having customers find you. It's a difference between competing on price and commanding premium rates. It's the difference between being just another business and being the business that others want to work with. The entrepreneurs who understand this principle aren't just surviving their cliff dive, they're soaring. They're building airplanes that fly higher, faster, and further than anything they could have built alone. So here's what I want you to do next. The conversation is just getting started, and I want to continue it with you personally. First, head over to my Substack at theauthorityfigure.substack.com. That's where this conversation continues, where you'll find premium levels of additional content, detailed case studies, and the specific strategies that authority figures use to build collaborative advantage in their industries. But if you're serious about implementing this framework in your business, if you want to stop building your airplane alone and start building strategic partnerships that will transform your success, then book a complimentary authority assessment call with me. You can book a time that suits you and your schedule at calendly.com. I keep a limited number of slots available to ensure focused, valuable discussions. The choice really is yours. You can keep trying to build your airplane alone, or you can start building it with others who are committed to soaring together. I'll see you over at the Substack and hopefully on our authority assessment call too. Until then, remember, why build alone when you can soar together?